everybody, this is Francesco Abbruzzino with Suncoast News and Scoop. And the city of Venice is in trouble once again after last week the judge at the United States District Court and the jury found that the VPD was indeed liable for harassing police officer Webb based upon his race. His attorney, Jacqueline McMajica, basically said that the behavior will not go away anytime soon in Venice and that the city needs an overhaul starting at the top of City Hall. Why did she say that? Well, this is the second lawsuit related to a black employee with the city that they have lost in less than a year. The other one was, I believe his name was Williamson. I did an interview with the president of the union, and we discussed his case where basically they lost and they took a lot of actions, negative and the wrongful, from what I've heard and I believe, and they lost that case. Webb, they just lost this case, and basically he was alleging about four things. He filed this discrimination suit back in 2019. He said that in one situation his partner put a banana on the trunk and it looked like a primate or something, inferring that Webb looked like a primate. And major issue there, he said he went to the former chief, Matt Mueller, and he did nothing about it. He claims another officer referred to him by the name of Black during a conversation. He took offense to that. He was asked to clean the N-word up that was spray painted at the South Jetty Park. Took offense to that. And then he was asked to clean up Black Lives Matters posters, and he took offense to that. Now, that's with the Venice Police Department. He also mentioned a binder that was kept back in the 70s and 80s that basically tracked African Americans, some of their associates and everything, in a binder. They referenced that during the trial. It's not around anymore, I believe, but it was back then, back when I was a kid here. So what happened is they went ahead and they lost that suit. He said that there were two incidents, though, involving what this article says were citizens, and I'll put a link to both articles. One is where they cover the court case coming up. The Herald does, this Chris Anderson guy, and then he basically comes out and calls all the city of Venice racist and don't go there if you're African American. I'll put that one out too. If you don't know, Chris Anderson is with the Herald and he's a extreme far left guy. So that's where he's coming from generally when he puts out his articles. So he said in regards to the citizen that someone threw a banana at his car with his daughter in there. He said he gave the license plate to the VPD, nothing was done. He said also that an owner of a business in Venice threatened him physically with violence and called him racial slurs. He then called him at work and he said, we're going to show you what we do to N-words here in Venice. So obviously behavior nobody would approve of. So he said that nothing was done, that his supervisors, Matt Mueller, nobody really took any action on these things. The article references the fact that Matt Mueller never addressed any of the allegations publicly. And from all that, he said this Chris Anderson drew a conclusion that the city of Venice is racist. At the end of his article, he said that well, let me go back to the top. Basically, he went through there and he talked about that binder, some of the old history. He talked about how the city of Venice is one of 22 cities that is what they call sundown city. And he talked about how there was an ordinance passed back in 1947 that the city mayor signed that segregated blacks so that they could only be in a certain area of town. And that part's actually true because I remember living here in the early 80s. And that book, or they could only live over on Grove Street, which was right next to the police station at the time. And I didn't realize that. I often wondered why they all lived there. And then one of my friends said, well, we can't move in the city. And I was a young kid. I didn't know what he was talking about back then, but I do recall that as being accurate. Now, the attorney for Webb, besides saying that there needs to be an overhaul, she also had that if you're considering visiting as a tourist and you're black, you should boycott Venice because they do not want you there. Basically alluding to the fact that the city of Venice is a racist town that is in need of an overhaul. These are only two suits that they lost both. There's actually a third one. It was a lady officer, African American. She was an SRO for the longest time at my daughter's school. She's got a suit that's out there, and the city is going to have to face that one too. Will they lose or not? And so obviously there's issues. Two of them were with VPD. Webb's VPD, the lady officer's VPD, and then the other one was within the city of Venice. So we'll see what happens. And again, I'll embed the Herald's articles with this website. This has been Francesco Abbruzzino with the Suncoast News and Scoop.